Hare Krishna. Hope the screen is visible. And I'm audible there.
Hare Krishna, you are audible and screen is also visible.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let us start our day with prayers to Shri Radha Govinda and seeking blessings from our Guru Parampara. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरंगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. All glories to assembled devotees. Is the class live on YouTube? Can you see any notification?
Yes, Prabhuji. It is showing at the top live.
Okay. It is online?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So let us continue our discussion from where we left last time. So as usual, let us have a quick recap of what we studied so far in chapter 6 Ashtanga Yoga, and then we can move further. So who is to take up today? Some quick points. Hare Krishna. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, I'll tell one key point from last time's session is that before progressing in Ashtanga Yoga, one should purify themselves in Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Yes.
So that's the key point. Yeah, I want to share, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the significance of this point is we have to purify our sense enjoying propensities, material attachments, and then somebody has to retire from his prescribed duties. So immature retiring from prescribed duties, there is a great chance of falling down. Whereas what we are practicing is Bhakti Yoga through Krishna consciousness, whatever we are doing, there is no prior purification required. The process of chanting itself is purification. So with that, through sadhana bhakti, we can rise. That is the significance of that point. So any other important points? Anybody else wish to add? Hare Krishna. So most importantly, what we need to understand from this chapter is Ashtanga Yoga is not for us. It is impractical for us. What is prescribed by our Guru Acharya is taking up Bhakti Yoga, taking up Krishna consciousness, taking up chanting of holy names. So this is the essence of this chapter, and as we end this chapter, we will understand why this is impractical. Yeah, and we discussed about advancing in yoga through detached work, that is karma sannyasa, and then yoga ruddha stage, giving up work, we discussed, and we are in the process of discussing the further stages in practice of yoga. And last session we ended by uh, discussing about a shloka from Nectar of Instruction from Srila Rupa Goswami, that is Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartana Sangatyaga Sato Vritte Shadbir Bhakti Prasiddhyate. So how do we progress in this devotional service? How do we progress in our devotion, Krishna Bhakti? The process is this shloka, which talks about 6 principles. So this we already discussed. Most importantly, the enthusiasm, determination, and patience is very much required. And then acting as per regulative principles prescribed by our acharyas, abandoning the association of non-devotees, and following the footstep of our acharyas. So these are some of the key principles which will help us to progress in this Krishna consciousness. And then we will now move further to see what is there in further chapter. So as we do as a regular practice, devotees comfortable reading shloka, please take it up one after the other quickly without any time lapse. And devotees who have not comfortable reading shlokas can take up English translation immediately. So that by 10 o'clock, let us complete this chapter. Okay, so who is going first
Hare
today?
Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yato yato nischalati manasyanchalam astiram tatastato niyamyat aitad atmani eva vasam nayet. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So somebody can
From
read.
Wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So it's a very important sloka we are starting with. Mind, the picture shows it as it's a monkey. Okay, it keeps flickering. A self-realized yogi have to control it. Mind should not control us. Today, mind is controlling us. And we will see the process how we can control the mind. And one who controls his mind and his senses, he is known as Goswami. And one who are controlled by the mind are Godasas. Most of us are in this stage. We are Godasas. We are the servants of our mind. As long as we are servants of our mind, then we are living with our worst enemy. We are serving our worst enemy. And that worst enemy is going to take you to the darkest region. Knowing this, we have to not give in to the demands of our mind. The sense enjoying propensities, we should not give in, we should regulate. This is the lesson we need to learn from these slokas. The serving Krishna with purified senses is Krishna consciousness. Yeah, what is the definition of Krishna consciousness? Serving Krishna with the purified senses. How do we purify our senses? How can we purify our senses? Can somebody throw light on this? We have discussed enough about controlling senses. So purifying senses, controlling mind, we should detach from material attachments. All these things we have discussed enough. Can somebody say how we can control the senses?
Chanting the holy name of the Lord.
Yes, Mataji. And what else?
Whatsoever duties we are performing, we should forget any sort of say return from that, and we should do whatsoever we are doing in the name of Krishna only.
Yes.
By being equipoised and performing our prescribed duties without any fruits.
Yes. So all these things is going to fix up you in Krishna consciousness. So in this, whatever activities you have said, you are all right. What are we doing in this activity is engaging our senses. When we are chanting the holy name, when we are sitting in front of the deities and chanting the holy name, we are seeing the deities from our eyes. We are hearing the chanting holy names with our ears. We are chanting with our tongue. We are holding the beads. We are using our senses. So all these senses we are engaging in the service of Supreme Lord. So the sloka what we discussed before, Adha Shri Krishna Namadi na Bravet Grayam Indriyaha Sevan Mukena Jivado Swayam Eva Spurati Ada. Our senses do not appreciate all these things. Naturally, if you see, our senses do not appreciate. How can we control our senses is by dovetailing our senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. And we also said Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Yeah. So what are we doing? We are engaging our senses, not in our satisfaction, but in the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. And the best way to control our mind, as Mataji said, is chanting the holy names. When we are chanting the holy names, all our five senses are being controlled. I have to just take one call. It's repeatedly, it's getting, just allow me a minute. Allow me a minute, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, kindly mark your attendance.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. So as said, chanting the holy name is the best way to control our senses. And one more important thing. Why do we call chanting of holy name as Mahamantra? Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Can somebody say? There are so many mantras, but only chanting of holy name is known as Mahamantra. What is your take on that?
Because it is told by our acharyas, so we are just following what comes to us through bona fide parampara. So it's not that only Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I mean Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But because our acharya said so we have to follow that, Prabhuji. That's why.
Okay. Good try. Any other answers? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it has reference in the Shastras as well, saying for Kali Yuga, this is the prescribed yajna.
Yes. Perfect answer, Mataji. So, and one more thing, as I've said, do not try to give the perfect answer. Whatever comes to you, just you can share. That will also sometimes help most of us. Yeah. So do not hold on to your answers. As said just by Mataji, Brahma tells this to Narada Muni. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodaka Namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nata Parataro Upaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishtate. So what Brahma is saying here, from my Chaturmukha, from 4 heads, he has read all 4 Vedas, and there is no other mantra which can relieve us from our Kali Kalmasha. Very reason we are all struggling in this vicious cycle of birth and death is because of our sinful reactions, what we are carrying forward to this into this birth. And the only way to relieve from this is chanting of holy names. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nameva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he says this 3 times he's repeating that Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nameva Kevalam. Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatir Anyata. So the Kali Kalmasha, to remove the Kali Kalmasha, Harinam is the only Maha Mantra we have. Many times when we get it very easily, we do not value it. So we all have to put that endeavors to rise in our sadhana, in our minimum prescribed numbers. There are 10 offenses to the holy names. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotee who have dedicated their life to spread the glories of holy name. So we should never blaspheme any devotees. And who is the devotee? By definition of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, any person who has chanted once Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he is to be considered as devotee. So we need to be very careful if we are talking anything negative, anything bad about such people. Second is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva to be equal or independent to the names of Lord Vishnu. So when we are doing demigod worship, we should never consider the demigod as equal as Supreme Lord. And the third important is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master and consider him as an ordinary person. So Mataji here said, our Guru Acharyas have prescribed this minimum rounds. And our Srila Prabhupada, our eternal Siksha Guru, he is so merciful. All his previous Guru Acharyas had a minimum standard of 64 rounds. Prabhupada knows our standards. He drastically brought it down by his mercy to 16 rounds. I see so many devotees are progressing so nicely when I see your sadhana form. From what you were in chapter 1 and now, there is very good progress I can see. Many are still staying where they are. So disobeying the orders of the spiritual master is also an offense. If you now you know chanting of holy name is the only way, and to get the taste in chanting of holy names, you should not do any kind of these offenses. And not following the instructions of the Guru is also an offense. So knowing this, you all have to rise to higher levels. Minimum prescription is 16 rounds. Wherever you are, no problem. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with his mercy, has already given you a designation that you will also be considered as devotee because you have chanted once Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But what it takes to go back to Krishna is minimum 16 rounds. And what is important is your endeavors, your progress, your actions. You have to prove by your actions, not by your words. So this is a very important message I wish to give to all the devotees who are consistently showing your sincerity, seriousness. You are consistently coming. I'm really pleased by all your endeavors. So you all have to rise. Let us move on. Next two sloka, it's only English translation. Somebody can take up. Devotees who are chanting sloka can stay back. Somebody who are not comfortable, they can take up this.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The yogis whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfectionist of transcendental. He is born the mode of passion. He realizes the quantitative identity of Supreme. Thus, and thus he is freed from all the reactions in the past deeds. Thus, all self-control yogi constantly engaged in yoga practice becomes free from material contaminations and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Here we understand about Brahma Bhuta stage. A state when he is free from all his material contamination, material attachments. So such a person is situated in transcendental service of the Supreme Lord. And in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1854 sloka, it says, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the absolute, until one's mind is fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. Clearly, it is saying we cannot remain in this platform until and unless we fix our mind. How can we fix our mind? That is the importance of chanting. Manatrayate iti mantra. Your wandering, flickering mind can be controlled only by chanting of holy names. And what is the benefit of that? Controlling the mind, chanting the holy names. Chapter 8, Sloka 8.5. It says, Anta kale cha mam eva smaranam mukta kalevaram. Ya prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha. So Krishna is saying, whoever quits his body by remembering me, he will definitely attain my nature, my supreme abode. So this is Krishna is guaranteeing in Bhagavad Gita. So whoever quits his body by remembering Krishna, how is it possible? Many people say, okay, just I have to remember Krishna at the time of death. I will do my chanting then. Many people say bhakti is not for us. Bhakti to be done after retirement. You might have heard about it, right? When we are doing any deity worship at home, when we are offering flower, naturally when we are offering fruits, what we do? Do we offer a rotten fruit? No, right? We always try to give the best fresh fruit and flower to the God. When we are engaging ourselves in the service of the Supreme Lord, why do you want to engage in bhakti when you are retired, and what are you going to do with your rotten body? This is the best time. Whatever time you have come to Krishna consciousness, that is the mercy, Sukriti of Krishna. The Sukriti what we got and the mercy of Krishna and Guru Parampara and associated devotees, we have come to this path. So we need to take it, chanting of holy names, very seriously. Next two slokas. Hare Krishna.
A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realization person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
So
Krishna.
here Krishna is explaining the qualities of devotee, how they are. Krishna consciousness yogi is a perfect seer because he sees Supreme Lord situated in one's own heart as well as heart of every living entities. It could be dog, elephant, or a Brahmana. I said Pandita Samadarshinaha. He sees Lord everywhere. 6.30, it says the Krishna consciousness person sees Krishna everywhere. He knows that everything is manifestation of Krishna. Nothing can exist without Krishna. Animate and inanimate, moving or non-moving, everything is made by Krishna. Everything is energies of Krishna. So how a devotee sees Krishna? There is a beautiful shloka in Brahma Samhita which says, Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So it says, I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotees, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shyamasundara, situated within the heart of devotees. So devotees always see Krishna within their heart as well as everywhere. So next two slokas.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mother.
Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. O Arjuna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. It's a very important sloka where most of the Mayavadis and mental speculator try to mislead the general audience. Here it says, such a yogi who engaged in worshipful service of Supreme Soul, knowing that I and the Super Soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. With this, they try to say that I and Lord is one and I am also God. So for which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given a very clear explanation of this through Achinta Beda Abeda Tattva. Now, how we are same, at the same time we are different from the Supreme Lord? Do you remember any of our discussion before? How do you think we are the same, at the same time we are different?
We are same in quality but not in quantity.
Perfect, Mataji. Perfect answer. So, Krishna is infinite, we are infinitesimal. And what is the example we discussed? Can somebody else mention? Do anybody remember what was the example we discussed on this?
Soul and Supreme Soul, difference between soul and Supreme Soul.
Yes, we
Soul is
discussed that.
blissful.
Drop of water in the ocean.
Yes, Mataji, perfect. Yeah, thank you. You're all making good notes and recollecting all these important things. These are all very important philosophies. We need to be very clear. Why I bring back again and again these analogies is, these are the philosophy we need to be very firm as we progress till the chapter 18. And in this, we understand in this sloka, through reading purport of Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of trance in yoga practice. So we are discussing about Ashtanga Yoga, but as we progress by the end of this chapter, Krishna clearly says that Bhakti Yoga is the highest. And the cause of distress of the living entity is because of our forgetfulness of our relationship with the Supreme Lord. We forget that Krishna is within our heart. He is the Supreme Soul. He is the Supreme Master. My purpose is to engage in service of the Supreme Lord. Rather, we are trying to engage in our own services of our own senses and body. A true yogi, true devotee who is in Krishna consciousness is happy. And because he is happy, because he is got this blissfulness, he takes all the risk to spread this blissfulness to Krishna consciousness to as many conditioned souls as possible. In chapter 18, sloka 68, Krishna clearly says, among all the devotees, who is most dear to me? Krishna says, one who preaches this confidential knowledge to as many conditioned souls out there, he is the most dear to me. And he will surely get the pure devotional service and he will come back to me. Krishna declares this in this sloka. What we need to understand here is, like material designation, spiritually, there is no such designation. Anybody who is engaging in service based on his capacities, Krishna sees his bhava, his endeavors. Not necessary a person who is taking the class is only preaching this. You don't believe there are 20 volunteers serving selflessly to ensure these classes is going on very, very nicely. All these 20 devotees are the ones who were doing level 2 class in our previous batch. So they understood by end of this 18th chapter, they understood engaging in devotional service is the only way, and whatever capacity we can engage in this service will be appreciated by our Guru Parampara and Krishna. So there are many such service opportunities as we are doing now. We are in level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, and then Bhakti, Vaibhava, multiple batches. ISKCON Mangalore is a temple which is doing so much of Gita courses, 12 languages in 4 different batches in a day, month on month, reaching out to thousands of devotees globally. So you all have an opportunity just by spending 15 minutes a day in helping this to expand to even larger audience. So how many from you wish to engage such services? Anybody are interested? Spending 10-15 minutes? Can I see some digital hands?
Already started with it, Prabhu.
Very nice, Mataji. So it's as simple as sending you a thank you note. Many of you who are regularly attending, you might be getting some appreciation message, isn't it? It is as simple as that, but that is helping so many devotees that yes, somebody is there to take care of us. If you have missed any of the class, everybody of us have our own personal commitment also. Not necessary everybody are attending 100%, giving 100% attendance, but somebody reaching out to you, giving you a recording that you might have missed. Please listen and please come back in next batch. It is a very simple gesture. Do you not appreciate this? How many of you appreciate? Yeah. So these are all simple services which is helping you to stay in this course. Yeah. So Kalpana Mataji, you can make a note of the raised hands. We can reach out. There are simple service like this. We can engage you in that. And as we progress, many more can join in such services. Kalpana Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji, took the screenshot.
Okay, Mataji, thank you very much. See, why I emphasize on 2 things. One is services. The second is chanting of holy names. We need to understand the significance. Yeah. Maybe I will end this session by telling that significance. In case I miss, you please tell, so that at least now let us continue with the flow of the class. At the end, I will tell about this importance for us to stay connected in Krishna consciousness movement, right? So next we are moving to the next section 4, Shloka 6.33 to 6.36, necessity of controlling the turbulent mind. We are trying to understand why we need to control the mind. Somebody can read the Shloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktah samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatva sthithim sthiram.
English translation. Somebody can read who have not participated.
Hare Krishna,
Arjuna
Prabhuji.
said,
Yes,
O
Mataji.
Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Hare
So who is telling that it appears impractical and unendurable to me? For the mind is restless and unsteady. Who is telling this? Arjuna, who is known for his razor sharp focus. Right? Arjuna had told when Dronacharya had asked to shoot a bird, when all his disciples were telling he's seeing tree or seeing bird, Arjuna said, I am seeing the eyes of the bird. Such a person is saying his mind is restless. Then what can we say about ourselves? So we are all struggling because of uncontrolled mind. Arjuna says, this is a very important and beautiful sloka. Somebody can read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavadridham Tashaham nigraham mane vayori vasudukshkaram. Hare Krishna.
So English translation.
The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah. So Chanchala hi mana Krishna. Arjuna is telling his mana is Chanchalam. Mind is so strong, sometimes it overcomes the intelligence. When our intelligence is lusty, mind will very easily overcome this. How do we make strong this intelligence? Is gaining the knowledge by Guru, Shastra and Sadhus. So we need to have this spiritual intelligence to overcome the mind. Next sloka. Here Krishna is telling, yeah, please go ahead, Mataji.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena cha Grihyate.
So English translation somebody can take. Quickly somebody can take.
Lord Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so Krishna is telling by suitable practice and detachment, one can control his mind. Krishna is giving this knowledge to all of us. So what is the practice? In present age, nobody can follow very strict sense regulation, going to a secluded place and focusing on the Supreme Lord. The only easiest and surest way our acharyas have given is the sadhana bhakti. All the sadhana what we are trying to do, the chanting of holy names, following four regulative principles, reading Srila Prabhupada books, association of devotees, serving, taking up some service, all these things will help us to fix our mind. When we are doing all these services, we are remembering smarana. What was the 9 process of devotional service? Somebody can add? Shravanam,
Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam,
Padasevanam, Vandanam,
Archanam, Dasyam,
yes,
Vandanam,
That's why I always like to stay
Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam.
Atma Nivedanam.
Nivedanam.
These are the 9 process of engaging in devotional service and controlling our mind, fixing our mind at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. So devotees who are not speaking, request to keep on mute. Yeah. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. All these things is happening in chanting of holy name. So that is the best way of our devotional service. Next sloka, 6.36. On English translation.
For one whose whose mind is unburdened, self-realization is difficult work, but he whose mind is controlled and who is starved by the appropriate means is assured of success.
Yes.
Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. Similarly, yoga practice without mental control is waste of time.
Yes. Thank you,
So
Prabhu.
basically, they want to differentiate between yoga and the bhakti yoga. Actually,
Yes.
what we do so many yoga practices, but that really needs patience, calmness, coolness, and it will take very much longer time to reach to the devotional level. Even the simple way to go to bhakti yoga is just listen Harinam. If you listen to the bhajans itself, after a few days, you will observe yourself that your eyes are getting closed in the devotional way and you are reaching to the God. That's my understanding, Prabhuji. If I am wrong.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thanks for your views. So, very valuable. And here, in addition to what Jaideep Prabhu just said, so Krishna is saying, is declaring that one who do not detach the mind from the material engagements hardly achieve success in self-realization. So we have come to this path of Krishna consciousness, and now knowing that we have to regulate our sense-enjoying propensity. If you do not regulate, what will happen? It is like trying to ignite the fire by pouring the water. Can you ever fire? It is just like sense enjoyment. Prabhupada had given a very beautiful analogy, like adding fuel to the fire. If we continue to engage in sense enjoyment, that sense enjoying propensity will never die down. Similarly, here Prabhupada gives one more analogy where it is like dosing the fire by putting water on it. So what we need to understand here, as we progress, if we are serious, if we are sincere to rise in our Krishna consciousness, our endeavors, our actions are to regulate our sense enjoying propensities. One side you increase your chanting, other side you regulate your sense enjoying propensities. This is the way to control your mind. So let us move on to the last section 5, the destination of unsuccessful yogis. Yeah. Now we know Ashtanga yoga is very difficult to practice, and there is high chance of falling down. And I also say it holds good for devotees practicing in Krishna consciousness also. We have discussed the forces of Maya is so strong. The Sloka 7.14, Devi Isha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Krishna is telling my material energy is too strong for you to overcome. How can you overcome is only by surrendering, taking up devotional service. So if we have to engage, if we have to continue in this path, the barometer is checking ABCD of Bhakti. Are we associating with devotees? Are we reading Srila Prabhupada books? Are we chanting the holy names? Are we doing deity worship or taking prasad? And most important is, are we engaging in devotional service in association of devotees? This is the barometer. If you can see yourself, we all can cheat the entire world. Many times, because of our ignorance, by our trick of our mind, we cheat ourselves. We think it is okay to sleep more than 7 hours a day. It is okay. We are giving enough rest to the body. But we cannot cheat Krishna. Krishna is in our heart seeing all our desires. Let us move on. Next sloka, English translation, please.
Hare Krishna. O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere?
So here Arjuna is asking, what will happen to such a person, yogi, who is trying to practice and fall down? He is neither here or there. When we look at the materialistic life, nobody has any interest to progress in this transcendental knowledge. They are only interested in material advancement, material designation, position. At the same time, when somebody takes up bhakti yoga, there is no loss, we discussed. The sloka 2.40, chapter 2, we have discussed this. Neha Bikrama Nasosti Pratyavayana Vidyate Swalpa Api Asya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. So Krishna here Krishna is saying, little devotional service when you engage, you are free from the greatest danger of falling down. So whatever position you are, you will get a human form, and from there you can continue from where you left. That is how most of us have come to this Krishna consciousness path. Having come to this path, we discussed Devi Isha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Maya is hitting us very hard. And Krishna says, Prabhupada says, don't be surprised how many have come to Krishna consciousness. Be surprised how many stays. There were 200 plus registrations for level 2. But I see the devotees here are so sincere, they are holding on to it. You have come this far till chapter 6. It's a great achievement. And for devotees like you, Krishna says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabham. Such devotees are very, very rare. Not everybody can continue. You can see every class when you want to join, you have 100 excuses not to join. You can see yourself, but you continue to fight your mind and continue to come to the class and hear the glories, participate in the class and engage in devotional service. This is the way we have to continue. Next sloka.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Parthanaivesh Namutra Vinasasa Tasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Kashida Durgatim Tata Gachati. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, English translation somebody can read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pratha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil.
Yeah.
Hare
So
Krishna.
Here Krishna is saying, someone who gives us his material enjoying propensities and takes shelter of the Supreme Lord, there is no loss. At the same time, somebody who do not take up the devotion and he takes up the highest position in the material platform, it says yet he has not gained anything, because that is temporary. Whatever you have gained, your name, fame, position, your assets, you have to leave everything once you leave this body, isn't it? Not a single penny you can carry forward. This is the greatest realization we need to get. Activities in Krishna consciousness is all auspicious activities. And anyone voluntarily accepts his bodily discomforts and continue to take shelter of the Supreme Lord and engage in devotional service, that is the perfect, such a person is the perfect transcendentalist. That is what Prabhupada says. We are all going through our issues, isn't it? Some bodily issues, relationship issues, or issues in office. One who can tolerate all these things, knowing that you are a soul, you are not this body, the body is temporary, and you stay aside and see from outside. We discussed this in our previous class. And tolerate and continue to engage in devotional service, that is the perfection of our life. The unsuccessful yogis, what happens to unsuccessful yogis is discussed in further slokas. It is only English translation. Somebody who has not participated, please request to take up.
Hare
The
Krishna.
unsuccessful.
The
Go
unsuccessful
ahead, Prabhu.
yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One more Mataji was trying, she can take up this opportunity, 6.42.
I can't see it on the screen, is it, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Please go ahead, Mataji, 6.42.
I can't see it yet on the screen, but I have the this open. Or he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in vision. Verily, such a birth is rare in this world.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So the yogi who falls after practice of this yoga, he goes to higher planets, and then after prolonged stay in the higher planets, he comes back to earth to continue his devotional service. As said, there is no loss in our Krishna consciousness or this devotional path. We discussed this example before. Somebody in material platform, he takes up some exam. He scores 35 is the passing marks, he scores 30. He has to reread, study the entire chapters and take up the exam, and again he has to rewrite everything. But in Krishna consciousness, you rise from 30 and above. This is a simple example I can give. And one who does prolonged practice of Krishna consciousness, and if he has not continued, such a devotee takes birth in great Vaishnava family. That is some of the example of our acharyas, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. They all have taken birth in great Vaishnava family, which made them very easy to continue their devotional service. So next sloka.
On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru.
Thank you. Thank you. So here the example of King Bharata, a great king whose name has been kept for the Bharata Varsha, who could not complete and go back. He takes birth again, like in the form of the Jada Bharata, and he does all the devotional service and go back. So these are some of the examples we can see from Shastras. Next two sloka. It is only in English translation. Somebody can take.
By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attached to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures, and when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavors in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So here again it is elaborated on what happens to such an unsuccessful yogis. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Sloka 7, it says, O my Lord, person who chant the holy names of you, Lordship, are far advanced in spiritual life, even though he is taken birth in a dog eater's family. So not necessary somebody has to be a Brahmana. Anybody can take up chanting of holy name and get delivered from this material entanglement. Srila Haridas Thakur is one such example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him because he is known as the Namacharya. He is a great example. And the person takes birth in a the person who takes birth in a righteous family or a rich aristocratic family or a sacred Brahmana or a Vaishnava family, they get a very good platform for them to continue to progress, to complete their unfinished task. And we are getting into the last section, 2 more shloka. Meanwhile, hope the attendance link has been already shared. Request you all to mark your attendance. So here, the topmost yogi, having read all these things, the Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga, Krishna is declaring who is the topmost yogi in these next 2 shlokas. Please, somebody can take up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitative worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi.
Next sloka.
Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana sradbhavana bhajate yomana same yukta tamo mata. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, and English translation, somebody who have not tried last sloka for the day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
And all the yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental, loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of the all. That is
Yeah.
my opinion. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So here we understood yoga is not a physical exercise. Yoga is a linking of our consciousness with the Supreme Lord. So one who does his prescribed duties and try to fix his mind with the Lord is known as Karma Yoga. And one who depend on empirical activities, predominantly on empirical activities, experimental activities, such a yoga is Jnana Yoga. When one does the devotional service, that is known as Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna in this sloka clearly saying that is the topmost. The word bhajate is significant. What is bhajate? Bhajate, the word bhajate, which means the service. Service with love and faith is very much required. That is our constitutional position. We are the spirit soul. Jivera Swarupa hai Krishnera Nitya Das. So we have to serve. We have to engage our senses in service. Now it is up to us whether we engage the service in the service of Maya or service of Krishna. It is said in purport, Prabhupada says, anyone who does not render service, neglect his duty to the Supreme Lord, such a person will continue to fall. That is the very importance. When I look back, September 2020, I joined the level 1 course. Only thing which could hold me on till here is little service I was doing. I started with a simple service of being an admin in a level 1. After completing level 1, I became an admin, sending out few PDF documents. It does not take 10 minutes, but that has helped me a big time to rise in my devotional service. That is the reason I said you all have to take up some or the other service as we progress. Now I said, what is the importance of service? We discussed the devotional service is the only way it will take us to Krishna. Who can engage continuously with Many enthusiasts, we see many volunteers, devotees come, enthusiastically take up some devotional service, but because of the forces of Maya, many will drop out in between, just like joining these classes as well. Who can stay strong is the one who is strong in their sadhana. The chanting of holy name purify our heart. It soften our heart where the Bhakti Laja beach is sown. When we show our sincerity in our chanting the holy name, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, their mercy, the Bhakti Lata beach is sown in our heart. And the watering process is the devotional service we engage. And this beach which is sown in our heart, it will grow and break free from this material planetary system and go to the Supreme Lord. That is how we rise. So with this, I will come to the end of chapter 6. In fact, this entire section, first 6 chapter itself is Karma Yoga. The next 6 chapter is the most important aspect, most confidential part of Bhagavad Gita, that is Bhakti Yoga. Next 6 chapter is very, very important. So I absolutely appreciate your enthusiasm, your commitment to continuous to join the classes and continue. So next 6 chapter, continue to be joining us. Let us discuss, participate, and rise in our knowledge and rise in our Krishna consciousness. So with this, I will end my discussion today. Thank you very much. Hope it all helped you all. Any quick questions from the topic we discussed, we can take up. Any important points which you liked, you can share. Hoping everybody have marked your attendance and you all have started your quiz. That is very important. So please take up quiz. It doesn't take more than 15 minutes per chapter. Please take up that quiz, right? So shop is open, floor is open for you all. Any quick questions or any realizations from you, please you can discuss.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, a simple question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
How can a person come to know whether he is going up the ladder towards devotional services?
Very, very good question, Prabhuji.
And at the same time, what are the devotional services we can provide?
Yes. Very good question. How can we know that we are progressing in our devotional service or bhakti? The simple thing is, there are two ways of looking at. One is self-evaluation. Second is the things which comes to us. As said, when we are engaging in more devotional service, when we are associating with more sincere devotees, when we are getting opportunity to visit Dham, these are all the transcendental signals that Guru and Gauranga is pleased with whatever we are trying to do. These are some signals. Second is self-evaluation. When you see yourself 15 days back, how many rounds you are chanting, what you are reading, what devotional services you are doing. If you can reflect, you can answer yourself. You can look into the mirror and see where you stand. As we progressed, we all started with 1 round of Harinam, and then slowly, gradually 4 rounds, 8 rounds, 16 rounds. How can one further rise? How some of the example I have seen, including myself, Yena Kena Prakarena, I reached 16 rounds. Morning 4 round, afternoon 4 round, evening 4 round, before sleeping balance rounds. And then next stage was, I got firmed up that irrespective whatever may happen, my day do not end before I complete my 16 rounds. And then slowly I'm gradually rising to a stage, my day do not start till I complete my 16 rounds. By mercy of Guru, Gauranga and all the associated devotees, my first activity in the morning is to complete my 16 round. only then all my material activities start. As said before, when you give the 2 hours to Krishna, next 22 hours you are protected, and Krishna gives you the intelligence, the remembrance to become much more efficient in time management. Krishna says, Aham kalosmi. So Krishna gives you intelligence to efficiently manage all your material responsibilities as well. Hope this address your question, Prabhuji. And you asked the second question. What was the second question?
Second question was, what are the devotional services which can provide?
So nine stages of devotional service, 9 process of devotional service. Even today we discussed. So starting with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So there are 9 stages of devotional service we discussed. So chanting of holy name is the simplest devotional service you can offer to the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, Prabhu, that's okay. At the same time, what I could understand that initially always a devotee who is a starter, he is always a fluctuating mind. So he need not to worry about the 16 rounds. If he worries about that also, that's also very good practice. But he should not worry about the timing. He can do 2 malas, sometime 2 malas, sometime 2 malas, afterwards 2 malas, anytime. The way he is going for the toxic breaks in corporate, like going for fag and something like that, blah, blah, blah. So he can similarly go for these things, have small breaks, and he will remove that particular toxic.
Yes, Prabhu. As we discussed, there are very elevated souls who have done a lot of devotional service in their previous birth. This birth they have got, and they can immediately take up. I have seen devotees having got this knowledge, they immediately started to chant 16 rounds. I have seen devotees who have gradually progressed, and this is the gradual progress. Not everybody are elevated. 98% of the devotees are gradually progressing. What is important is you should be gradually progressing. You should put your endeavors and actions to gradually progress and reach to minimum standards what Acharyas have prescribed. Yeah. So with this, hope there are no more questions. However, I would have wished to hear some key points which hit some of the points which hits your heart for a day. Any such things is there from today? It will really help. Or we'll end our session anyway. 10 o'clock. I have to
Whenever we
join
get
one more
time
session.
while sleeping, while rising up, whether we have mala in our hand or we don't have mala in our hand, only way to go to the mercy of Lord Krishna is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you don't have strength for doing that also, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So, Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Chakrapa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. All glories to assembled devotee. All your active participation gives me a lot of enthusiasm. So continue to participate, continue to associate, and let us complete this journey till 18th chapter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam to all.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.